Welcome back to the Green Workbench. This is just a quick review of the USAA Safe Pilot app. Now, I just want to make it clear before I start that I love USAA. They're a great company. I would never go get insurance from anywhere else. In fact, when I have insurance agents call me to try to woo me over, as soon as I tell them I have USAA, they say, well, forget it. We can't beat them. So this is not against USAA at all. So a lot of insurance companies are doing these devices or apps to promote safe driving, and they give a discount if you drive safe. One way they do it is through an actual device that plugs into your car's computer, and it monitors your driving. I would never do that. I think that's an invasion of your privacy. You're giving a company way too much information that way about your car, your driving, everything that can be used against you. I just would never put that information out there. So I would never use one of those. So luckily, USAA's instead of is an app, and you still have to give it permissions on your phone to collect data, but it's not as much as can be collected through the car's computer. So there's some good things about the app and some bad things. The good thing is you do get a good discount. As you know, if you're a decent driver, you're going to get a good discount. So no contesting that. My problem is that it's not very accurate, nor is it truly judging how safe your driving is. So for an example, I'm going to pull up a trip from this morning. It says phone handling 1, which is a ding. So the 4 different phone handling or the 4 different categories they use are phone handling, handheld calling, hands-free calling, and harsh braking. So those are the 4 criteria that they are judging through this app in order to give you a discount. So phone handling is like touching your phone. Basically, it knows when you're driving because you give it access to the GPS, so it knows that you're moving. And if you actually touch your phone and manipulate it in any way, that's considered handling. So the problem is say you've got it just up on your dash charging and you're driving at night and you get a notification, so suddenly the screen pops up and it's bright. And in order to avoid that distraction, you reach out and turn off the screen, push a button. I would argue that that's being safe. You're getting rid of a distraction. This app says that's phone handling because you touched a button on your phone. So that's a bad judge of safe driving. Another issue on this one. So specifically what happened here is I was going to an appointment. I took the wrong street and I wasn't sure if the street I needed was north or south. So I pulled over to the side of the road, opened up the map app and searched it so that I could go to the right place. So I did everything safely. I pulled onto a side road and then I pulled over to the curb. I stopped the car, put it in park, and then searched. And it still got me for handling my phone. I wasn't driving at the time, but the problem is once it starts a trip, it takes more than just pulling over to the side for a second for it to realize that you've stopped. Usually you have to stop the car, get out, like you're sitting there for a couple of, I don't know how long it is, but it's longer than a few seconds. And in the past, I've even tried pulling over to take a phone call. You can't get more safe than using hands-free mode, pulled over, parked in a safe spot on the side of the road to take a phone call. Yet you get hit with that. That's a ding. So handheld calling, I understand totally. Like if you pick up your phone and you're holding it out, that's unsafe driving. Totally something that should be there. Hands-free calling, on the other hand, I don't see as any different or more dangerous than talking to a passenger in the car. In fact, I think it's less dangerous because you don't have the urge to look over at the passenger to communicate. So if you can push a button on your steering wheel to answer a call, talk to someone while looking at the road and concentrating, and then click off on the steering wheel, I think that's the safest version of driving with a phone that we'll ever get. Yet that gets a ding. So I think that hands-free calling should be a bonus over handheld. But again, it's a negative ding. The 4th one is harsh braking. which is extremely inconsistent and also doesn't take into consideration the road conditions. So if I'm driving along at the speed limit in my lane and someone runs out in front of me or pulls out in front of me and I have to slam on the brakes, that's safe driving because I'm driving the speed limit and I'm paying attention. Yet, according to this app, often because you had to slam on the brakes, it will signify harsh braking and you'll get dinged for that. On the other hand, there are times when, yeah, you are driving too close to someone and so you have to hit the brakes, so that is unsafe. But there's no way for the app to differentiate between the two, so I found that it's very inconsistent. The harsh braking is very inconsistent. The only thing that's really done is it causes you to consciously think about distance and braking so that you don't get dinged. And so you do end up, I think, driving safer just because you don't want that ding against you. And ultimately, that's the success of this app, is that you start thinking about driving safer, even if the metrics or the data isn't accurate of whether or not you're driving safely. You start driving more safely, which is the ultimate goal, because you are thinking about the app. So when your phone rings, you look at who's calling and you decide not to answer the phone because you don't want to ding for that trip in your app. So it forces you to do that. The biggest cause of accidents pretty much everywhere is speed, and this doesn't do anything to gauge speed. I know it would be difficult because speed limits change. You know, there's a road near my house that goes from 35 to 45 to 55, and there's no way your GPS in the app could keep up with that. Like, change right when you hit that sign. But I think there could be a maximum set based on the state you're in. So if the maximum speed limit of any road in the state of Utah is 80, then the app could say, while you're in Utah, if you ever do over 85, or you get a ding, or you could just do over 80. If speed is the number one factor in accidents, that should somehow be figured into the app. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because clearly the other 4 criteria are far from perfect. In fact, are extremely inaccurate. So if for some reason you get an inaccurate hit and you say, no, I wasn't driving, I was pulled over, or I was in a parking lot and I hadn't left yet, then you basically only have one option. You can click on this wheel and you can say, I was a passenger. So you can't argue that what you did was safe. Your only option is, this was not a drive, so I was parked, or I was the passenger. And I'm an honest guy, so I want to stay honest with what I do. So I don't, to keep my score clean, I don't go in every time I get a ding and say I was the passenger. Like, if I did it for real, I own it, because that's helping me to be a better and safer driver. But if there's a time when I know that what I did was the right thing, the safe thing, and there's nothing else I could have done more safe, like pulling over on a side street against the curb before I open my phone, then I feel like I should be able to just say I was a passenger to erase that ding, because every ding goes against your percentage, and the lower your percentage, the lower your discount. So the app kind of incentivizes being dishonest, and I wouldn't promote that. And if you're going to use this app, you should be honest, and it should be because you want to be a safer driver. So I never say I was the passenger, or use that feature unless, number one, it was true, I was the passenger, or the passenger was the one using my phone, which happens, like if my wife is the one using my phone on the drive, I say I was the passenger, because there's no option to say someone else was using my phone. But otherwise, I just take the hits. And I found that even with that, with getting hits, you still get a significant discount in your insurance, and USAA already has great rates. So I'm keeping it. We did a trial run through 6 months, so that's how they calculate the rates. We got the discount for the next 6 months, and we're going to continue to use this app because I've talked less and texted less. Is that an admission of something? Anyway, I've been a safer driver just knowing the app is running, in the back of my mind, just thinking, oh, I shouldn't take this call because it's going to be hit, but also because it's been a financial benefit to me to keep the app. So I think it's better than the dongle that you plug into your car's computer. It's not perfect. There are issues with it. I don't know if programming or software updates in the future can make it better. But anyway, that's my quick review of the USAA Safe Pilot app. I hope that helps you in your decision of whether or not to use it. Thank you. Please subscribe, click on the notification button, and I will see you next time on the Green Workbench.